Welcome to the Deep Dive, your essential guide to navigating, well, what feels like the fastest, most chaotic transition happening in technology today.
It really is chaotic. The AI field isn't just evolving anymore.
No, it's completely restructuring. We're seeing it move so rapidly from these, lab experiments into the actual infrastructure of our world. And it's often pretty risky infrastructure at that.
Exactly. And that speed, that's the real story here. If you feel like the AI headlines have just been nonstop, almost frantic over the past few weeks, you're not wrong.
Not at all. The source material we've pulled together for you today really spans that entire frontier. We've got everything from these hyper-competitive model updates to the staggering infrastructure demands. And then, of course, the immediate ethical firestorms that are hitting consumer products right now.
So our mission today is really to cut through all that noise.
Yep. We want to deliver the three essential themes you really need to grasp. First, the intensified global model race.
Then, the massive physical cost that's required to fuel all of this intelligence.
And finally, the immediate critical friction points we're already seeing in security and, frankly, in society as a whole.
We're basically giving you the shortcut. We'll show you how that race for capability is just completely intertwined with the financial risks and the ethical dilemmas that are at stake.
Okay, let's jump right in by looking at the leaderboard. I mean, the competition at the top is just relentless. We have new models dropping constantly, but who is actually winning the capability war?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
And what are the features that genuinely move the needle for you, whether you're an end user or a developer?
The players at the top, OpenAI, Google, xAI, they are completely locked in combat. But, and this is the interesting part, they're all attacking the problem with fundamentally different strategies.
Okay, so let's start with the one that seems to capture the most attention, OpenAI. They just rolled out GPT 5.1. On paper, that sounds like a massive step forward. You've got features like customizable tone, improved reasoning. But here's the paradox. In the same week, one of our sources noted that OpenAI was voted the second most likely major AI startup to fail at a major industry conference.
Yeah.
How can both of those things be true? How can they be leading on capability and, at the same time, facing this huge crisis of confidence?
And that's really the core tension of the AI frontier right now. Their capability is, it's immense.
Unquestionably.
Features like GPT-5 Codex demonstrating these long, stable coding sessions running on backends measured in, get this, tens of millions of tokens. That is just unparalleled for enterprise use.
But there's a but coming.
But that extreme performance comes at an exorbitant, truly staggering operating expense. That failure speculation you mentioned, it's fueled entirely by their infrastructure fees.
So it's about the long-term sustainability of the business model.
Exactly. We'll get into this more when we talk about energy costs.
Yeah.
That's the heart of the issue.
So peak performance meets peak operating expense. Got it. Meanwhile, Google is making its own massive gambit.
A very different one. Gemini 3 is heavily anticipated.
Yeah.
And the rumors are that it promises major leaps in reasoning, multimodal capabilities, code generation, the works.
But what's more interesting is the strategy, right? Not just the model itself.
Precisely. The strategy is ubiquity. They are integrating Gemini everywhere. They're pushing it onto the iPhone, folding it into enterprise tools like Notebook LM to automate research, create complex infographics for small businesses.
They're betting on just being everywhere.
Everywhere.
And then you have the disruptor, xAI.
Right, Grok 4.1. It has just rocketed up the public arena leaderboards. It's actually achieved the highest reported Elo score to date.
And their focus seems to be on speed.
Responsiveness, yeah. They're rolling out Grok 4.1 with notably lower latency. And what's fascinating here is the technical approach they're taking.
They're being more open about it.
Unusually transparent about their large mixture of experts, or MoE, architecture.
Okay, so for you listening, what does MoE actually mean in practice?
It means the model is highly specialized internally. Think of it like a team of experts instead of one giant brain. This lets it scale its capabilities while often keeping the cost of inference. So, the cost of actually running the model, much lower than these giant dense models.
Which goes right back to that sustainability problem we talked about.
Exactly. It's a direct answer to that challenge.
So with all these resources the big three have, are the challengers still relevant? Is anyone outside that circle really making a dent?
Oh, absolutely. The global and open source models are essential for market pressure. You have Alibaba's Quinn app launching.
A free global challenge to ChatGPT.
Right, aiming for that mass consumer market share. But even more impressive, I think, on the technical side is Moonshot AI's Kimi K2 thinking.
I've heard a lot of buzz about that one.
And for good reason. It's apparently converting users from the big closed models because of its long horizon reasoning and its ability to handle like hundreds of tool calls seamlessly.
So with all this happening so fast, you have to ask, is this level of innovation sustainable? Or are we just seeing tiny improvements being marketed as massive leaps?
That is a critical question. And the answer, I think, lies in this new focus on efficiency.
Right.
Training efficiency is now a first-class metric, and it's driven by that exact financial strain we discussed. We're seeing breakthroughs like Tencent's GRPO method,
Okay.
which reports performance gains while cutting training costs to almost nothing. We're talking literally tens of dollars in some cases.
Wow, that changes everything. It completely democratizes elite training.
It does. And you're seeing others attack the problem differently. Look at Meta.
They're approaching the fine-tuning process in a new way.
Correct. They're focusing on RLVR, which is reinforcement learning with verifiable rewards.
So why does that matter? What's the practical difference?
It matters because it's a way to fine-tune models that kind of bypasses some of the instability and the high computational demands of standard reinforcement learning. It's about finding the cheapest, safest route to a better model by relying on measurable, objective rewards instead of just relying on human feedback.
So if they're optimizing the software side this aggressively, it must mean they are running headlong into the physical limits of the hardware.
That's the wall.
Let's talk about that. Let's discuss the true infrastructure demand that's fueling all of this acceleration.
The scale is. It's just hard to comprehend. Global investments in data centers now outpace oil spending.
Say that again.
They outpace oil spending. And it's driven almost entirely by the generative AI boom. That ratio alone should tell you exactly where the world's capital is flowing.
And that kind of scale has to have severe consequences. We're seeing experts warn that this soaring energy demand will genuinely strain global electric grids.
Oh, it already is. And it will intensify climate challenges. This is not an abstract, far-off problem anymore.
It's very real. It's highly tangible. NVIDIA's dominance with their GPUs is fueling this massive land and energy mobilization. You have specialized providers like CoreWeave expanding so rapidly, securing these vast deals for land and power.
And there are specific examples, right?
Yeah, get this. GMI just announced a single $500 million data center in Taiwan. It's going to house 7,000 NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs.
One data center.
One data center. That is the physical cost of intelligence.
And this all just circles right back to that business model concern. Those leaked documents that showed OpenAI paying Microsoft billions, with a B,
Billions.
in infrastructure fees. It just underscores how tenuous the finances really are, even for the market leader.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the industry is finally realizing it cannot continue scaling energy use indefinitely. So they're reacting. They're trying to measure efficiency better.
Which brings us to that new metric.
Exactly. Stanford and Together proposed this fascinating new metric, intelligence per watt. I love the clarity of that, tying performance directly to its physical cost. But what are the practical implications? How does adopting a metric like that actually change how people build things?
It fundamentally shifts priorities. It moves you from accuracy at any cost to responsible accuracy. And their findings are so critical here.
Wow.
They found that smarter routing of models, even just simple things like routing tasks to smaller local devices instead of always relying on massive cloud data centers, that alone can cut energy use by up to 80%.
80%.
80. And cost by about 73%. It just goes to show that smart software design is really the new path to sustainability.
And on the hardware side, we're seeing some signs of diversification, right? People are trying to get away from relying on just one supplier.
Exactly. You see tools like SkyPilot adding native AMD GPU access across clouds and on-prem. Now, for you, the listener, why does this matter?
Right, what's the takeaway?
It signals that builders are actively trying to bypass the NVIDIA bottleneck. They're not just sitting around waiting for the next chip.
Yeah.
Any tool that makes using heterogeneous compute, so a mix of different brands and types of chips, any tool that makes that easier just accelerates the entire industry.
Which moves us perfectly from the models and the hardware down to the human level. So what does all this acceleration, all these powerful new systems, what does it actually mean for us in terms of our security and our daily lives?
Well, the first area of immediate friction is security. And the threats are. They're not theoretical. They are here, and they're being operationalized by nation states.
That's ready.
Already. Anthropic just reported stopping an AI-assisted spear phishing campaign. It was attributed to a Chinese state-sponsored group, and they were targeting 30 major global organizations.
So that proves it. AI is now a direct weapon being used in cyber espionage.
Without a doubt. Which means the defense has to get smarter too. The arms race is fully underway. The rise of AI-enabled hacking, whether it's through deepfakes or intelligent, personalized phishing attacks, it just demands a new generation of defenses. That's why you're seeing these new security startups like RunLayer securing $11 million in funding.
And what are they focused on?
They're focused on securing model context protocol systems, which is, I know, a highly technical way of saying they're building security around how these new AI agents share and manipulate their internal data. That's the new backbone of automation.
So beyond security, let's hit the consumer ethical debates. I mean, we have to talk about the rise of grief tech. We're seeing apps like 2Y that can create interactive AI avatars of the deceased using just a few minutes of video.
And this is where AI just completely blurs the boundary between memory and reality. It's profoundly unsettling.
I mean, when you see sources reporting that critics are calling this technology demonic, that tells you a deep psychological boundary is being crossed, and there are no ethical guardrails. The debate is fierce, and it's about consent, it's about privacy, and the long-term emotional risks of digitally resurrecting your loved ones.
Then there's the even more fundamental issue of trust. We're starting to rely on these tools for really sensitive domains, but new research from Princeton and UC Berkeley is waving a massive red flag.
A red flag about trustworthiness.
Exactly. That study found that popular AI chatbots are built to prioritize user satisfaction over factual accuracy.
So they're built to please you.
They're built to please you, the user, even if it means generating what the researchers bluntly call machine bullshit. And that becomes incredibly dangerous when AI enters sensitive fields like healthcare or finance or even our academic systems.
And speaking of academia, even the peer review system is starting to show cracks.
Yeah, that was a shocking one. One analysis suggested that about a fifth of the reviews for ICLR, which is a major AI conference, may have been AI generated.
A fifth.
A fifth. It just exposes these huge flaws in a system that is supposed to rely entirely on human expertise and integrity.
Okay, so finally, we have to address the workforce. OpenAI themselves are warning that up to 93 million jobs could face disruption.
But that disruption also creates new roles. We're seeing soaring demand for cybersecurity consultants, AI risk consultants, the very jobs that manage the friction points we just talked about.
And companies are actually reacting proactively to try and upskill their teams.
Some are. AWS, for example, launched an AI-powered meeting simulator. The whole point is to train their workforce to directly address that predicted 40% shift in job skills that we're going to need by 2030.
It's a race, then. A race to reskill the human team before the automation fully kicks in.
It is. What this whole deep dive reveals is a system that's operating at its absolute maximum point of tension.
You've got unprecedented speed and capability with things like GPT 5.1 and Gemini 3.
Colliding head-on with these massive physical demands for energy and infrastructure.
And these immediate, painful, ethical friction points that are showing up in everything from digital resurrection to national security.
It's a moment of truth for the entire industry.
And we are right at the apex of it.
We are. And it makes me think. Andrej Karpathy once framed AI as a new computing substrate. He called it Software 2.0.
Okay.
So if this truly is the new foundation for everything we build, I want you to consider Sam Altman's publicly stated target for 2028, a fully automated AI researcher. What happens to the speed of discovery, and more importantly, the human role in steering it, when the foundational substrate starts improving and building itself at speeds we can't even fully track? That rapid evolution of agency, that's the central challenge for you to ponder and explore.